Okay, we'll call the Paulding County Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals of March the 10th to order. We've got a little housekeeping thing to do first, in our first order of business, and that is to elect new officers. And before we do that, I'm going to ask everybody to check your audio devices, your cell phones and so forth, and ensure that they are off and not or muted in some way. So I'm going to, the first thing is we're going to elect our chairman for the year. And I'm going to ask for nominations for the position of chairman of this board. Does anybody have a nomination at this time?
Well, Mr. Chairman, you've done a great job. I think you should be reelected. So I'm going to put you up.
Second.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
It's more like a draft.
Thank you for your confidence. Are there any more nominations? There being none, I'll declare nominations closed. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor of Jack Hart being your chairman for another year, signify by raising your right hand. And same sign for opposed, and it looks like it is a unanimous. Okay, our next position will be the election of the vice chairman, and I'll entertain motions for the vice chairman, position of vice chairman. Any nominations?
I think we should I nominate Deborah for vice chairman.
Okay, do I have a second for that, for Deborah's nomination?
Second.
All right. Okay. Are there any other nominations for that position? There being none, I'll declare the nominations closed. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor of Deborah being our, that's Deborah Sevier. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Deborah Sevier being our vice chairman. All in favor, raise your right hands. And all opposed, same sign. What did you do? Okay, that was unanimous. Okay, congratulations, Deborah. And that being done, I'm going to ask, has everybody had an opportunity to look the minutes over from December the 10th? Is it okay? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes for? Are there any discrepancies or anything that needs to change?
Motion we accept the minutes as printed.
Motion to accept the minutes as printed.
I'll second that motion.
And seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have two items on our agenda tonight, and they both pertain to the same lot. Incidentally, the lot is in the Hiram, is in the city limits of Hiram, so we'll be acting as for Hiram. They will have the final decision to make on this, but we will be voting on it tonight. The first item I'm going to read is 2020-2-Victor, and it's care of Hiram. The application of Trinity Property Development LLC for a variance on approximately 0.848 acres within the city of Hiram to reduce the side or the east building setback requirement from 15 feet to 4 feet for the development and construction of a retail establishment. Property is located on land lot 664 and 665, District 19, Section 2, on the north side of Windy Bagwell Highway, that's 278, and west of Poplar Springs Road in Post 3. Okay, that's the first item. And the second item pertains to the same lot, and I'll read that. It's 2020-3-Victor, care of Hiram, application by Trinity Property Development Limited for a variance on approximately 0.84 acres within the city of Hiram to reduce the required parking spaces for a retail development from 35 spaces to 25 spaces. Property is located in land lot 664 and 665, District 19, Section 2, on the north side of Windy Bagwell Highway and west of Poplar Springs Road, District 3. Okay, having read these, I'm going to give you a little idea of how we conduct our meetings. We'll ask the representative of Trinity Property Development to step to the podium and give his name and his address, state his name and address, and sign our roster. And we have a time limit of 15 minutes for him to make his discussion. Now this, we might vary that a little bit since we're covering two items at this time on the same lot. But any opposition will have also the same amount of time of 15 minutes to bring their issues with the variance. And after that, the board will discuss it with the representative or opposition. And that time that we take out with the board discussing will not be counted against that 15 minutes. Anyway, who is going to be representing Trinity Property in this?
Good evening. My name is Joel Larkin. I'm with Sam's Larkin and Huff, a law firm in Marietta. I appreciate having the chance to talk with you tonight. I'm a little bit old school, so I've given each of you a
Thank you, Joel.
little packet. I wasn't sure what we have. This is old man's PowerPoint. The first page is similar to what you have on the board already. It's just
Did you sign in?
I did.
Thank you, sir.
it's just kind of a long-range aerial just to help you all figure out where the property is. It's near the northwest corner of Poplar Springs and Windy Bagwell. It's right next to the Ameris Bank, which on the opposite corners we have LGE and then Racetrack and an undeveloped site. This is a pad grade that's been on the ground as long as I can remember, probably 10 plus years. Other properties have developed around it. It's part of a larger commercial development that was platted with cross easements and utilities for the various lots. And those cross easements and utilities create a lot of the issues that have brought us here tonight. If you turn to the second page, it just zooms in a little bit on. It's similar to what you have up there. But the third page that you have is, I've taken a survey of the property and I've highlighted in yellow the impediments that exist on this lot. And you've got two different easements that run parallel to Windy Bagwell through the property to provide access, and they're already developed with asphalt. And they restrict the use and developability of the lot. And then along the western side of the property is another developed access road, half of which lies on this property to provide access to the commercial properties behind it. And that's got a restriction that doesn't allow us to park directly into it. So we've got to come into the site. So when you look at, and then in addition to that, you've got drainage easements and sewer easements that run through the property. It's higher in the front and falls off to the back and to the left. you're 10-plus feet higher in the front than you are in the back, with the back left-hand corner being the lowest part. So by virtue of these restrictions, it pushes the building to the right-hand side of the property in order to have room to get around the property and to do some parking on it. And that's why we've requested the reduction in the right side setback when you're facing the building down to 4 feet. That does leave room for the landscape strip that's required in the overlay corridor requirements. And if you look at the overlay or the aerial that you have behind you, you'll see that the Ameris Bank was developed with the parking field between it and this site, and the shopping center on the other side was pushed closer to this site. So actually, when we shift the building over the way we're proposing, it gives a uniform look from the road as far as the open area between the buildings. This is a proposed auto parts store. Their normal building is 85 foot wide. They have gone with a narrower building than they normally use. They've reduced it to 72 feet because of these impediments, but we still need the setback reduction so that we can have parking on the side of the building and be able to get to the back of the building. We've also requested a reduction in the parking requirement. Under your code, there isn't a specific, or under both Paulding and City of Hiram, there is no specific parking requirement spelled out for auto parts stores. There is a 2 spaces per 1,000 requirement for retail. I'm sorry, one space for 200 feet for community retail, and that's the conservative calculation that was used here. If you use that, that would require 35 square feet. Warehouses require 1 space per 2,000 feet. We actually have a blended use where we're 2/3 warehouse. So it's not entirely clear what parking would be required here, but wisdom would suggest that we get the community retail variance so that the building would be fully utilizable by any type of retail use, now and in the future. We did take a look at parking requirements in general for auto parts stores as far as what actually gets used. And, our experience is that generally you've got, 3, maybe 4 employees in peak time, and you've got customers who come and go pretty quickly. So it's unusual to have more than 10 or 12 cars on the lot at any one time. We're still proposing 25 parking spaces. Again, and the ability to park the property is greatly impacted by the same restrictions that require us to move the building over to the right and reduce that right setback. These are not restrictions that we placed on the property. They're in place now. There's nothing we can do to remove those restrictions. They're going to apply to any user of the property. So the combination of those and the falling topography on the back are what causes us to ask for these variances. And we're happy to respond to any questions. I've got a representative of the developer here, and I also have an engineer here who can respond to any kind of detailed questions that you have.
Joel, would you go over the, because I looked at it today, and I was just wondering that land lot, it looks like the bank's parking is running into the land lot. I know you went over that a little bit,
the bank curb is actually runs parallel to our property line, right up against it, and then they
the
park.
curb is on the line?
It's very close to the line.
So
just on this side.
the lights sit actually on your property?
I'm not sure about the lights, but I'm looking at our survey. That is the 3rd page here.
Yeah.
I did walk it this morning too, and there are a bunch of different pins out there, and they were a little confusing, and that may be what you're referring to.
Well, I was just thinking that 4 foot is going to put it a lot right there against those, especially the lights.
No, we're going to be off of their property line, and they are aware that we've made this request, and they have no objection to it. We've
Okay.
talked with them. We'll have plenty of our own parking. We're not looking to use anybody else's parking.
My concern was it's going to get awful close to the building and be bumpers bumping the building or something possibly, the way I'm looking at it.
To their bank building? Actually, they've got a whole double row of parking between their building. If you look on the arrow behind you,
Okay, here's,
See that drive aisle comes in between there, and they've got,
this is.
yeah, that line, the
Yeah,
Texas,
this is the curb,
yeah, that line.
right there.
That line is not accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Mr. Chairman, that,
Okay, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
And
That's-
also
that
have
is an
lights-
accuracy.
Lights that are back behind that curb about 3 foot. There's a whole row of lights.
If you look at the third page of what I gave you.
Okay.
This is the actual survey, and it shows our property line is off that curve.
Okay,
So
okay.
The county map there is
yeah.
shifted.
It appears on the survey that the two light poles out there are right on the property line.
Sir,
It appears the two light poles.
Yeah.
Based on the survey, are on the property.
on the
line.
property line?
And
Okay,
that
so they'll
the
give you,
parking
that
is
4
at-
feet will give you plenty of room.
Yeah, that's a little skewed from the tax rate.
Okay. Okay. Do we have anything else y'all have?
What size building is this going to be, and how much retail space and how much warehouse?
It's 7,000 square foot building, and it's going to be about 2,500 retail space and 4,500 of the actual behind the counter space.
Are there any further questions? Thank you, Jewel.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody that is in opposition? Did you?
Mr. Chairman, we have no noted opposition on this from any of the adjoining property owners. Letters went out, and nothing's noted.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody have anything want to say or discuss?
Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the first as printed and stated on the application.
Okay, and yes, I'm sorry, that's exactly right. We want to vote on each one of them separately. So we're voting on the 2020-2V first, and that is the setback, right? And I have a recommendation that we approve it. Can I have a second?
Second.
Recommendation for approval and second is voted. All in favor by signifying by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, that appears to be unanimous. Now we'll go to 2020-3-Victor, care of Hiram. And that deals with reducing the parking spaces from 35 to 25.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we accept the second item of business as stated to reduce the parking from 35 to 25 spaces.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the variation, approve the variation 2020-3 Victor, and seconded. All in favor by saying aye? Aye. Any opposed? And that's unanimous for approval. Be advised, Joel, that we are only a recommendation. Hiram will be the final, making the final thing on this. And we will be recommending for approval on both of these.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
also,
sir.
Darren Allen with the City of Hiram is here.
Oh.
They will be holding a public hearing on this item on March 31st at 6 PM at Hiram City Hall.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay,
Thank you for a clear presentation of what you asked.
very good, yes.
Now on to the celebration of the elections.
Any further, anything else? Anybody have? Mr. Director, do you have anything?
We'll be sending out a packet for April 14th zoning board of appeals meeting, another variance application, and we'll be getting that out to you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Y'all have anything, you want to, any new business or anything? Do I have a motion?
Recommend we adjourn the meeting.
Motion to,
Second the motion.
and motion is seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And no opposed. Meeting is adjourned.